There is a word in Portuguese that has no direct translation. Ginga, which means the way a Brazilian moves with a football. It means the rhythm, the improvisation, and most importantly, the joy. It is not something you can coach. It is something you just feel. Or you don't. For decades, Brazil naturally felt it more than anyone. On the streets of Rio, on the beaches of Sao Paulo, and in the favelas, where children played barefoot until the sun went down. Pelé, Ronaldinho, Romario, Rivaldo, all of them learned their skills on the street. Even Garrincha, the man with the twisted legs who dribbled past entire defenses, he learned on the street. That was where Brazilian football, and one would say football as we know it, was born. Not in academies, in freedom. And this freedom produced something the world had never seen before. But somewhere along the way, Brazil stopped playing on the street and started playing like everyone else.
But before we continue, this is part 3 of our Flashcore series presenting the stories of the 8 biggest favorites of the World Cup. Today, the most passionate rivalry in football. Brazil, searching for its soul, and Argentina defending the impossible. Parts 1 and 2, Spain, Portugal, England and Germany, are already on our channel. And tomorrow we finish in Europe. France and the Netherlands, a coach chasing immortality, and 50 years of orange unfinished business. 8 teams, 8 stories, 1 trophy to be won. Right here on Flashscore.
The numbers tell a story that Brazilian football doesn't like to tell itself. The greatest Brazilian players of the modern era left Brazil younger and younger. The list is long and full of amazing players. Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, Roberto Carlos, Neymar, David Luiz, Thiago Silva, Vinicius Junior, Endrick, Rodrigo, Estevão.
And the fact that players are going to Europe really early on their careers, you can see Estevão or Vini Junior, Endrick, that means that they learn the European way, or really early on. So their tactics and the way they play is suitable for the European football very early on. That means that when they come to the Seleção, when they come to play for the national team, they are more adapted for that style of playing. And to actually remold the players, you need a lot of time of training, of time at the Seleção, which you don't have. You have a couple of international breaks and then the main tournaments.
On one level, this is success. Because the best clubs in the world want Brazilian talent before it is even fully formed. But on another level, it is a quiet crisis. And the results of the national team show that. Because those players arrive in Europe before they have finished becoming truly Brazilian, before the Ginga and freedom spirit are complete. And European football, with its structure, its pressing systems, its tactical discipline, begins to shape them just differently. They become technically excellent, tactically sophisticated, and physically prepared. No doubt about that. But the spontaneity, the unpredictability, the thing that made Brazil impossible to defend against, that gets coached out of them. Until one day, you watch Brazil play, and they look like a very, very good European team.
There's this idea that to be successful, you need to thrive in Europe, not in your own country.
So please welcome on stage the man who is set to bring Samba back to life, Signore Carlo Ancelotti. Speaking of Brazilian DNA, there is always one word that comes to mind: authenticity. And Signore Ancelotti is the very embodiment of authenticity.
Ancelotti talked about the DNA recently. We see it as like an attacking, joga bonito kind of style.
He has managed AC Milan, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich and Real Madrid twice. You have already seen some of those picks. He has won the Champions League 5 times. He has coached Maldini, Pirlo, Zidane, Ronaldinho, Kaká, Beckham, Benzema, Cristiano Mbappe and more importantly, Vinicius Junior. And in every single city, in every single dressing room, he basically did the same thing. He walked in, looked at his players, and he trusted them to be themselves. And that's what all of Brazil believes he is going to do it again. Not a new system or philosophy, just permission to play like Brazilians. Permission to remember that football, before it was a system, it was a game. And nobody plays a game better than Brazilians. So what can you expect from Brazil under Signore Ancelotti?
The shape almost picks itself. 4-2-2-2 formation, because that gives Brazil's extraordinary attacking talent the most freedom, while keeping just enough structure to not fall apart. Just look at the core pillars. At the base, one key centre-back and two midfielders, two power horses. Marquinhos, the leader who is responsible for the defensive line. In front of him, Bruno Guimaraes and Casemiro. One to protect, one to connect.
E eu acho que o Brasil sempre teve grandes defensores, né? Foram sempre muito valorizados, muitas vezes aqueles que vieram para fora, muito mais fora do que no próprio país, mas tivemos sempre grandes defensores. Acho que o Brasil teve sim grandes atacantes, grandes meio-campistas, né? Mas teve também grandes defensores.
This is the engine room that allows everything in front of them to breathe, because in front of them is a group of players with boundless offensive talent. All of them could be in the team. All of them could be in the starting lineup, and you won't make a mistake with that choice. Just let me read the list. Vinicius Junior, Rafinha, Endrick, Mateus Cunha, Gabriel Martinelli, Igor Thiago, and of course, Neymar. Quite a locker room, isn't it?
Se o Neymar estiver bem para jogar, é um jogador que desequilibra. Eu acho que se ele tiver em condição de jogar, tem que jogar. Acho que nós não temos nenhum outro jogador com a qualidade dele. Porém, ele tem que estar bem fisicamente, entender o papel dele também dentro da seleção, não só fisicamente, mas também entender o que ele significa e está indo para pode ser que é a última Copa dele provavelmente, né?
I mean, what a group of players. Ancelotti has plenty of options to choose from. And if these gentlemen enjoy playing football the Brazilian way, nothing is impossible.
He's going to trust Vinicius to play well, and then he's going to stay with this system throughout the whole tournament with Vini, Rafinha, two attacking players more in the middle, and being more exposed, like trusting Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes to close down the middle. It's I think he'll go for it. It's dangerous. He might work it out.
8 wins from 18 qualification games. Definitely not a campaign that Brazil will look back on fondly. But it served its purpose. That's the main thing. 155. The value of Vinicius Junior in millions of euros. By far the most valuable Brazilian player and by far the most dangerous and important persona. 7. The number of goals Germany scored against Brazil in semi-final 2014. A number that still defines a generation, and there is only one way to forget the humiliation once and for all. The golden path. 5 World Cup titles, more than any nation in history. The standard Brazil set for themselves. That is the benchmark Brazil aims to reach again after 24 long years. Endrick, one of the most talented players in the world. Plus, he has the advantage of bringing a different style of play to the team, and Ancelotti really likes him. Expect him to get plenty of playing time.
Brazil will arrive in North America with the weight of 24 empty years on their shoulders, and with a squad that, on paper, is just extraordinary. But Brazil has learned that extraordinary players do not automatically make an extraordinary team. And an extraordinary team does not automatically play extraordinary football. What Brazil needs in 2026 is not just a system or an elegant style of play. They need a trophy. They need a trophy desperately.
This is the most we've been without lifting the trophy. It's 24 years. And if we don't get this one, then we're going to break the record.
You can be sure that if victory comes, it means you will hear the sounds of Samba again. And that's not a bad prospect, is it? They need to win desperately also because their biggest rival is about to rewrite the history. Argentina. For years, one nation kept getting closer and closer, but never all the way. Not because they lacked talent, but because something never quite fit. Until it finally did. Between 2014 and 2016, Argentina reached 3 major finals: the 2014 World Cup, Copa America 2015 and Copa America 2016. 3 chances, 3 defeats. The numbers told a story nobody wanted to say out loud. Messi was directly involved in over half of Argentinian goals. Half from one man. That is not a strength, that is a dependency. When the pressure was at the highest, the team had nothing behind him. No structure build-up, no midfield control, no identity. So Messi walked away. He retired from international team. Just 2 months later, he came back. At the 2018 World Cup, the story was exactly the same. 9 goals conceded in 4 matches. Out in the first playoff round, the dependency had become a crisis which needed a solution, a very quick solution.
Leo Messi, estando en Argentina o en cualquier equipo del mundo, es el mejor.
The transformation didn't begin with a trophy. It began with a question nobody had seriously asked before. What does Argentina look like when Messi doesn't have to do everything? Lionel Scaloni took over a team with no answer to that question and spent 3 years building one.
And Scaloni played with Messi. Scaloni was well known by a lot of players. Also, he brought Aymar, Samuel, Ayala, and I think more than tactically, at the beginning he was really human. He was like a recent retired player, and he knew that you had to bring people like Aymar, that is Messi idol, and Samuel and Ayala to boost the potential of these players.
His first priority wasn't goals, it was structure. Argentina became harder to play through, harder to break. The pressing became coordinated, not frantic individual reactions, but rather collective waves. And the results were not subtle. Copa America 2021, Argentina conceded only 3 times in the whole tournament and ended a 28-year-old title drought. For the first time in over a decade, Messi walked off a pitch as a champion, and the system around him had carried its share of the weight.
Copa America in 2021, that he won in Brazil, in Maracanã, they felt like a proper rise, a proper blossom, and they have like a very, very, very passionate rivalry with Brazil, and I think they really, really dream of getting 4 and 5 titles to say, okay, we're the best in the world, we're better than Brazil. So, and I think this last World Cup by Messi is probably the best chance to be there and start like, how can I say, scare a little bit Brazil on this eternal rivalry.
A Copa America is a beautiful thing, no doubt about that. But it is not a World Cup. And deep down, Scaloni knew it. The real test was still yet to come. It arrived much sooner than expected. 2-1 loss to Saudi Arabia to begin their last World Cup campaign. In the old Argentina, this shock would have been the end. The dressing room would have fractured. The pressure would have consumed kind of everything. But something had changed. Argentina kept progressing and improving step by step throughout the tournament, which was decided on the now legendary 18th of December 2022.
I think his masterpiece in the final against France in the World Cup is which Di Maria position. He was playing originally on the right and then he put him on the left, and Di Maria ended up being the best player on the pitch.
And 2 years later came the Copa America 2024. 1 goal conceded. Scaloni's Argentina were not a moment. After 3 final losses between 2014 and 2016, now they have won 3 major tournaments in a row, creating a dynasty that is built by strict structure.
I think that we're like experiencing probably the best Argentinian national team of all time, because they won 2 Copa America and World Cup in 3 years and a half. So somehow we really feel like the quality, also they're really confident, and especially from the midfield, that is where you normally win a game in the midfield in an important competition. So the strength of Argentina, the quality of Argentina in the midfield, I think they make them like even more confident than in the other World Cup.
On paper, Scaloni's Argentina in 2026 looks almost identical to the team that won in Qatar. Same defensive block, same midfield spine, and same pale blue shirt. But underneath the structure, something fundamental has changed. In Qatar, one question organized everything. How do we get Messi the ball at the right moment? Every run, every press, every tactical decision, all of it was engineered around one man. In 2026, that question no longer runs the show. Messi is still there, but now the system doesn't wait for him. He doesn't need to cover ground. He needs to decide 3 or 4 moments per game. That's all Scaloni asks. And those 3 or 4 moments are still enough to change everything, even at 38 years old. What fills the space he left is a midfield that feels like it was built for exactly this kind of moment. Enzo Fernandez, breaking lines with a single pass. McAllister, press-resistant, intelligent, always in the right pocket. De Paul, the chaos, the energy that never stops. And in front of them, 2 players who make defenders genuinely nervous. Lautaro Martinez, cold, clinical, the kind of striker who scores the goal you didn't see coming. And Julian Alvarez, relentless, he's everywhere. The player who makes the team feel like it has 12 men.
Yo creo que Leo te aporta todo. Te aporta tranquilidad, liderazgo. Solo con verlo y saber que es el mejor jugador del mundo hace que todos se centren en él y que todos los demás tengan esa libertad para poder hacer su juego y así sacar muchísima más ventaja.
That is the bet. And in a tournament where everyone knows exactly how Argentina won last time, it might be just the only bet worth making. Because this time, Argentina is not built around one moment. It's built to create them. 15 defending champions, 15 failures, 64 years of the world waiting for someone to break that pattern. Argentina don't see 64 years of failure. They see 64 years of waiting. Waiting for a team worthy of that moment. The team is here, not built around one miracle. Built to create them time and time again.
It's the last dance. Lionel Messi probably, and Messi is playing in the US and somehow he will play home because he plays in Inter Miami. So his teammates will give the most in this last dance, and I think in the end they're living the best moment because they never won so many titles in a row in the same period, and in the end the key players are all the same. So I think in the end Argentina is of course one of the favorites. I think they can really make like a proper path and win again and do something that since Brazil in '62 no national team did.
12 wins from 18 qualification games. Job done, let's focus on the main thing. 8 goals, 3 assists. Lionel Messi was the most productive player in the entire South American qualification. One of a kind. Perhaps the greatest player in history. No need to say more. 64 years. That is how long the world has been waiting for a nation to defend the World Cup title. Argentina comes to 2026 to make history. 448 days before their first group stage match, Argentina had already booked their place. That is what we called a statement. And if Messi needs to rest in some moments, meet Nico Paz, 21 years old, most productive under-21 player in Serie A twice in a row. The future of Argentina is already there. Expect a big breakout.
They heard it before. In 2021, in 2022, in 2024. Every single time, they answered on the pitch. On June 16th, the question gets asked again.
Si ya Leo es el mejor jugador de la historia, para mí, o sea, imagínate si gana otro mundial. O sea, sería algo histórico.